is the camera necessary? Okay. So, what is mental health? See, not too really fond on that phrase, mental health. It makes it sound like there's something sort of wrong, like it's some sort of, you call illness or disease, but I prefer to think of it as just being differently wired. I mean, you say that these people, say, with personality disorders need help, that they're, in a way, some sort of cancer or danger to society, but what you don't understand is, it's less that, it's more that just people tend to feel they don't understand, and people who you call mentally fit, normal, and saying they don't understand that people that think differently, they see the world in a different shade. I mean, yes, there's been instances of, say, disorder or violent outbursts, but I mean, any normal, sane person can have one too many beers, or maybe just have too much of a stressful day and just go completely over the line as much as any other person that will be diagnosed with one of these defections. But that person then, of course, is then labelled, they're then sent off, they're given care, they're given number in some instances, put into establishments much like this one, but that's not always completely right, that's not always the best thing to do. Sometimes all these people need is just to be heard, to be listened to, sit down and talk to them. You reassure them that they're not crazy. You don't slap a label on them like, oh, you're different, there you go. You are now going to be treated differently, you're going to be watched, you're going to be shipped off to these different places, going to be talking to these different people who clearly don't seem to be caring. And it's just not a correct approach. And you might look at me now and think, oh, just the rantings of a madman, but you sit there with your white coat and your clipboard and you can write down everything I'm saying. You can go tell your other friends in their whiteboard or their white coats with their clipboards, and you can tell them what I've said, you can diagnose me, but at the end of the day, these people are not cattle, they're not things to be kept away, to be locked, to be studied, to be fixed. They're people that need to be cared for, people need to be helped, but not in the way that you help a sick child, the way you help a friend who's a bit down, the way you help a loved one who is in need of a bit of reassuring. That's what you people don't understand. Depression. Well, it's a very difficult thing to understand, a very difficult thing to explain. A lot of people think that because someone is diagnosed with depression, if they're depressed all the time, that they walk around as sad, contemplating suicide. But again, it's the people that don't understand. They don't really get what it is. See, it's less just being sad all the time. It's more, you can be happy. Depressed people can enjoy life at times. They can be over the moon, in fact, but it's about having an overall sense of lack of meaning sometimes. A sort of point where you just realise that sometimes there is no reason in trying, no reason in bothering, because at the end of the day, it just has no meaning. I mean, some people tend to have existential crises where they see the overall point of humanity to be frivolous and trivial, but other people it's a more personal fact of maybe there's no point in trying in your job anymore, maybe there's no point in bothering to take care of people you know because you don't feel that they need your help or that they want it secretly. You feel like your job won't get you anywhere, you're not going to do anything, so there's just no real need to live, as it were. And it's about seeing the world in a weird, sort of discoloured way. Everything was just not quite the way it used to be. Trees tend to twist in a strange, orderly fashion. People's glares tend to stab through you. It's like skin feels cold, and thoughts tend to suffocate, and it just feels like you're alone in a room full of people. Like, everyone's there talking to each other, acknowledging they've known one for years, and you're the one right in the middle, right in the very centre, and yet ignored by everything. Like, everyone's facing each other, but facing away from you. And people don't seem to get what that feels like sometimes. To understand that no matter how many times people say that they're there to help you, or that they care for you, or they're worried about you, you just don't quite believe it. And that's what a lot of people don't understand, actually, is as much as people say, everyone doesn't actually care. People can say that they care, people can say that they understand, but they don't actually care about you. People's need for helping others can stem back to them getting a feeling of gratitude or helpfulness from them, and that makes them feel good. They feel like they've helped someone, but that feeling, that gratitude, is inherently selfish, and they are still, misguided as it is, doing it for their own benefit. And that's what people don't seem to realise, is that everyone will only care about you because it makes them feel better. Even if it's because they're happy that you are now better, they are happy that you are better. And because they are happy, that again is inherently selfish. And that's what people never realise. That to be inherently good is impossible while still retaining human emotion. With human emotion comes selfishness, and with selfishness comes moral ambiguity, I suppose you could say, but in a way it's inherently evil and bad, and that's why it is impossible to be a good person. And sometimes when you realise that, you understand that sometimes the world really is out of touch with everything.